I'm Avery Pennarun, CEO and co-founder of Tailscale, where we make network connectivity software for all the way from individuals to enterprises. So Tailscale is a peer-to-peer, end-to-end encrypted network of a mesh network, I guess you call it, above any number of devices anywhere in the world, behind any number of firewalls. They can get direct connections to each other, and it's identity-centric, which means that each packet has an identity attached to it, which you can then apply policies to. So this is pretty exciting to the security world, because in security, they call this zero trust networking. My observation that led to the founding of Tailscale was that too many people are assuming that everything they build is going to scale to 1 billion users and 1 million compute nodes. And almost nobody actually has that problem. Even companies that do have that problem, like Google, most of the work that goes on inside those companies is stuff that's way smaller, like an internal dashboard, an HR tool, a database instance, a build system. All of those things have problems you need to solve, and nobody has been solving them because they get like starry-eyed about how cool it is to scale everything up to 1 billion nodes. Tailscale is just like, forget that. Hard things are possible already, but easy things are not as easy as they should be. Let's make easy things easy. And so everything sort of stems from that. And so the way we figured out what to build is we brainstormed different product ideas that would make it easy for someone to just roll out a dashboard for their team. And the top two issues that everyone agreed on is like connectivity and security. Connectivity is like, how do I get my coworkers access to my dashboard? And security is, how do I stop people who are not my coworkers from getting access to my dashboard? And if you actually interview people who set up dashboards, 90% of the work of making a dashboard is those two things, which is ridiculous because then you only have 10% left to actually build your dashboard. If you eliminate that overhead, you can actually just get back to work. And that's where productivity gains come from. This is why people sort of fall in love with Tailscale, because we're just like removing stuff they never wanted to do. The special thing about Tailscale is it's for a private network, not a public network. So anything that you want to share with your employees or your vendors or your customers in a non-public way with identity attached that's connected to login, you can do with Tailscale. Security teams kind of suffer from a reputation issue, which is their job is to prevent your work from getting done. Tailscale changes the formula where the default becomes the secure thing to do. So when security teams approve of or recommend Tailscale, they can be the good guys instead of the bad guys. Our most surprising group of customers we noticed last year is AI companies, which we realized about midway through last year, we had accidentally won the entire AI market for networking software. And the simple reason is that every AI company has what we call a multi-cloud problem. They have a GPU in one place where they got a good price for it, and they have everything else probably in AWS where the highest quality stuff is. And now they need to connect these two things together. And there's basically no products that do that well. Tailscale challenges conventional thinking in two ways. Everybody assumes that connectivity and security are at odds with each other. If you make it easier to connect something, you're probably making it easier for attackers to connect to that thing. But that's not actually true. It doesn't have to be true. You can make it easier to connect by simply designing a system with both security and connectivity in the same package. Tailscale merges those two things together, so it's a single product that just thinks about the idea of like, I only want to grant access to this group of people. And you're thinking about the connectivity and security at the same time so that they're like integrated. I think the biggest thing I learned from Tailscale was actually around the transition from what I call the startup phase to the growth phase. It's one of those things that not everybody gets to experience because many companies sort of like die before they get to the growth phase. Initially, Insight joined us in our Series B 3 years ago. And one of the things I liked about Insight is, first of all, they're extremely quantitatively data-oriented, while still understanding that we were at the time a very much startup stage company. So they were expecting us to like grow into a growth stage company, which we have now, but they were also willing to help us all the way along. And I wanted an investor that understood that transition and also the phase that comes after that. I think the biggest risk for companies right now comes down to systems being unauditable. So everybody wants to have AI now. Everybody wants to connect their AI agent to other AI agents using things like MCP. The default way to do that is like stick your agent out on the internet and also give it access to all your company's private stuff. Well, that's just a recipe for disaster. And people are doing this without doing audits, without consulting their security team. In fact, they often do it like against the wishes of the security team, who's like, please don't send all of our corporate information to the AIs. I guess I expect in the next 3 to 5 years, in security, we're going to see a little bit of consolidation on like how people connect one thing to another. And that might be a little self-serving because, of course, we make a product that connects one thing to another, but I think it's going to be precipitated by this AI movement where suddenly everybody needs to be able to plug their AI into the other AI and the other one and the other one, connect them all together. You can have this one thing and roll it out to everybody, and it works equally well for everybody. And that's because the metaphor is really the internet, right? We all are on the internet. And Tailscale is what I call the new internet, where we finally fix some of the problems with the old internet without breaking how the old internet works.